Hello everyone, welcome to my new channel. Well, not really new, but improved. Let's just say improved. Today I want to have a story time, and it's going to be about when I took my real estate exam. Now, I actually had to take my exam twice, but I'll spare you the long drawn out story and the details and just get right into it. So, for one, it took me forever to get the courage and to talk myself into taking my real estate exam. And I'll be honest with you, I knew people in real estate and I knew that you have to take the exam, but I've always just had a reservation about auditioning, taking state exams. I get really anxious, or I did get anxious and nervous. So it took me a lot to get up the courage. But I want to tell you today, if you're considering taking the real estate exam, there's two parts. It's 4 hours for each section, or maybe 2 hours for each section. I can't really remember. But so there's a state part and then there's the national part. Now, I passed the national part. I failed the state part. I know, like Texas has all these weird kind of like codes and things like that. And so it was a little difficult, but I missed it by 1 point. So can you imagine, like, for one, okay, so the price is like $54 and you have to pay this for 2 tests. Now, I paid that, but then when I failed by 1 point and I had to pay another $54 for a section that I didn't even have to take again, I was kind of upset. Like almost really. But so anyway, the very first time I went to take it, it was right around the corner from my house, so it didn't take me long to get there. But then once I got to the parking lot, I was just sitting there, then I was like so nerve-wracked that I was just like, okay, just go in and take it. So it's a very sterile environment. You can't really have your cell phone, any basic licensing tests, basically. Like teachers, lawyers, doctors, like professionals are used to taking state tests. Even, high school students, college students. So anyway, I put all my things in the locker. I'm at the computer taking the test. And it gives you a break in between the national exam and the state exam, and they're like 50 questions. So I felt like after the national, I could just go to the bathroom. And I went through the whole test, and I ended up double checking my work because that's what makes me comfortable. And I was like pressing next so fast that I ended up clicking before I could check all of my answers, and I panicked. So then with that anxiety and that feeling, I entered into the state exam. And I'm just telling myself this to make me feel better about missing it by 1 point. So I'm taking the test thinking, like overthinking everything, overanalyzing everything. But this is before I knew I missed it, okay? So I'm thinking, I'm going to ace this. No worries. I got this, I prayed for this exam. I know what I am doing. So we get to me finishing the state exam, and I'm pressing enter, ready to go, and you get your results right away. So I raise my hand, get checked out and all of that, get my phone and stuff, and then the guy hands me the 2 printouts. One says, congratulations, you've passed, you are licensed, blah, blah, blah. The next sheet says, you needed 21 points and you got 20 points. You must retake this exam. And then it gave all of the phone numbers and the instructions on what to do next concerning how long you have to wait for the next time to register to take the test. Now, that's very discouraging, okay? So, I had to pray about that. And I was like, Lord, how did I miss this by 1 point? And he's like, well, were you listening to me during the exam? Was it about your knowledge and your way, or were you listening to what I was telling you? So I had to take that. All right. Then the next thing is I was so down and discouraged but I knew I had to reschedule and press through. So I wanted to take it like the next day, but you can't do that. You can't do that in Texas. So I waited like a week, I think, and I registered for the test. I paid for it again, and I go into the office, and you have to take a picture, and then going into, it was a different building. So I went to the building. The elevator was broken. Well, let me rephrase that. The elevator wasn't broken, but whenever it got, first of all, it took forever to get there, get to the first floor. Then when I got on the elevator and pressed my floor, once I arrived to the floor, I ended up pressing the emergency button because the doors didn't open. Like, what elevator do you know the door doesn't open when you arrive? Like, it usually ding, and then the door open, right? The door's open, right? Didn't happen. So I called the emergency button. The lady's like, ma'am, did you press the open door button? And I said, no, I didn't. That's all I had to do, was press the button. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm too nervous if I can't even have common sense enough to just try all things before a state of emergency. Get into the office. This is my second time having to take the exam, so I already kind of got an attitude about it. And it's a line. I have to take a number. It's one lady. She's very busy. I have to be understanding. Still trying to stay calm, because for a test they tell you to stay calm so that you can remember and reflect the information and think clearly and positive thoughts. Trying to do that. And I'm like number 3 or number 5, some odd number, but the number that I like. Anyway, I digress. So I had to bring 2 forms of ID. She's checking all of this information. And basically, it takes me the 30 minutes that you're supposed to arrive for the exam earlier. It takes her 30 minutes to process me. So I'm thinking nervous and everything, like, while I'm sitting here, like, what if I don't get it all right? And da-da-da. So before you take the exam, they have to make sure it's you. And you have to take a photo so that they have a record of who is taking the exam. I promised you, for that photo, I was just like, because for my first photo, I was like so excited, like, this is my real estate exam. After this, I'm going to be a licensed realtor. And then I failed. So taking the next picture, I was like, and I have it. I have a scrapbook of this experience. But anyway, so I get into the thing. The lady told me to take off my earrings, like all this unnecessary stuff that the other people did not ask me to do. That I was just like, really, like, this is necessary, but whatever. I'll do it anyway. Going into the room, I put my earplugs in because it's other people testing. I didn't eat breakfast, but I had coffee and water like I love to have. And I promise you, going through that whole exam, I felt like I did not know the answer to any of those questions. But I'm pushing through. I prayed before the exam. Did my thing. So fast forward 2 hours, I take the exam, and then it's time for me to leave. So I raise my hand, and then the lady's like, just talking. Like, I don't even remember what she was talking about, but I was so zoned out, like, did I pass? Did I fail? I need to know. Da, da, da. And then she's like, your sandals are cute. I'm like, oh, thank you. By the way, those sandals broke. I was a little salty because I'm like, I just want to know my results. I kind of don't want to make small talk. I'm really nervous. I failed before, so of course I feel anxiety. So I get my results. Leaving out, the lady at the front desk prints them out and she hands it to me. And I'm just like, oh, thank you. And then the lady is like, Miss Turner, did I give you the right paper? And I was like, yes, ma'am, you did. Like, I was so nonchalant about it because I got so upset the very first time. So I was just like, cool this time. Like, yeah, I took my exam again, but I passed this time. And I felt really good. I did feel good on the inside, but it was total confirmation to me in my spiritual walk that whenever we feel like, or whenever I feel like I know it all and I feel like I can do things in my own strength and my own knowledge, that's when God just kind of takes his hands off and is like, Oh, so it's about you? Okay. All right, do this. And then you miss it by 1 point. So let me encourage you through my story time of failing my one of 2 exams that I had to take for my licensing to keep God first in any situation, in any exam in life, in any lesson you're learning. Take the time to realize that God is working it through you. It's not about you. It's not about your knowledge, your strength. It's all God's timing. Because in the second time, I felt like I was getting all of the answers wrong, and that's when I actually passed the test. So be encouraged, guys. Thank you for listening, and please like, subscribe, share, and visit me at my blog on www.prettybritney.com. And that's PrettyBrittani.com. Bye.